right, we're going to open up the city meeting for February the 2nd. Let's see here, and we're going to have the invocation. I will lead the invocation. Then we'll have the Pledge of Allegiance by Craig Shadrick, and then we'll have the roll call. Please stand. Our Father, we come to you tonight for our regular meeting. We ask that you watch over us as we go about our duties for the city of Ocoee and pray that we all work towards the betterment of the city, which we're supposed to do. We pray that hope that the COVID thing keeps moving in the backward recession instead of going forward. Let's all look out and be safe and keep ourselves safe for our city. Amen.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Commissioner Brunson?
Here.
Commissioner Wilson?
Here.
Mayor Johnson?
Here.
Commissioner Firstner?
Here.
Commissioner Oliver?
Here.
All right. Presentation for Black History Month, February 2021. I'm going to read this off, and then I'm going to have the ladies that are here for the diversity board to come up front, and I'll give it to them. So we have two here, I know for sure, right? Three. See another in the back. All right. Proclamation, Black History. Whereas Black History Month is celebrated annually in February across the United States, it serves as a celebration of African American achievements and the crucial role they had in U.S. history, as well as time to recognize the severe adversity generation of Black Americans had to overcome to achieve legitimate citizenship in our society. And whereas in 1926, Dr. Carter G. Woodson and the Association for the Study of African American Life and History sponsored a National Negro History Week, choosing the second week of February to coincide with the birthdays of Abraham Lincoln and Frederick Douglass. By the late 1960s, the week-long celebration evolved into Black History Month, calling our attention to the continued need to battle racism and build a society that lives up to its democratic ideals. Whereas the city of Ocoee continued to work towards becoming an inclusive community in which all citizens are respected and recognized for their contributions and potential contributions to our community. And whereas the city of Ocoee established the Human Relations Diversity Board and promote understanding, respect, goodwill, and equality among all citizens and businesses of the city of Ocoee since its inception 16 years ago. The HRDB has worked with the city hosting annual events promoting Black History Month, and whereas due to COVID-19, the city of Ocoee recognized Martin Luther King Day with a video presentation of our previous Martin Luther King Day parade and celebrations honoring the life and legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And whereas the city's 17th annual Black History Month essay contest encourages our local fifth graders to write their perspective on this year's theme, what does unity within our diverse community mean to me? And whereas residents can tune in to historical civil rights segments on Ocoee TV channel 493 to watch programs that highlight significant people and events from African American history. Citizens may also visit the Black History Month Wall of Fame in City Hall to view biographical portraits of notable African Americans. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Commission of the City of Ocoee does hereby declare the month of February 2021 as Black History Month. The city shall celebrate the vibrant culture and achievements African Americans have contributed to our country. This month and throughout the year, we urge our residents to celebrate that heritage and continue to fight for equality and opportunity for all. In witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the city of Ocoee, Florida to be affixed this second day of February 2021. Rusty Johnson, Mayor. Will the members of the diversity board please come up front?
Down there, do you want to?
I'll do this one first, then y'all.
Okay, be careful. Forgot about that.
After we take the picture with the members, we'll have the commissioners come down. All right. All righty. All right, now the commissioners. Yeah. Yeah. All right, thank you. I just want to say a couple words real quick. This is one of the best working group of young ladies and gentlemen here I've ever seen. They work real hard on this diversity board. Presentation back, I don't know where Mr. Maxwell is, he's probably out the Calpac. We appreciate it, the city appreciates it, and I know the area came out, appreciate it. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Careful, careful.
Okay, staff and agenda review.
Mayor, I have an emergency item for your consideration tonight. You should have a copy in front of you. On December 31st, the CARES Act from the federal government ceased paying for employee payroll time for us doing sequestrations of them at home and that type of incident where someone could not report to work and we couldn't find work for them to do at home. So in anticipation of something in the next couple of months coming and amending the CARES Act to reimburse the city, we have come up with a program that the city could finance to cover those absences so people aren't required to use their personal time off or take leave without pay for some type of exposure to COVID-19. So we would anticipate doing this until March 30th, and at that time, if we need additional funding to come back, if the federal government does amend the act to reimburse, we will apply for those funds, and if we need to extend it, we'll bring that back to the commission for further consideration. It's anticipated at this point it could be up to $15,000 per month to do this, and we have identified the funds, so we can cover that. These are extraordinary circumstances we're in, and we think it's in the best interest of the city to make sure that the employees are not penalized for using their own personal time if there's a COVID exposure.
Okay.
So that's, we'd ask you to approve this. We've identified funding in the hourly payroll line items. We don't need to move any money or anything to do this at this point.
All right, anybody on the commission have any comments?
I'll be happy to make that motion.
Motion made by Commissioner Wilson. Here, second.
I'll second.
Second by Commissioner Branson. Any more comments? Not, let's vote. Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you, Mayor. That was all I had this evening.
Thank you. All right. Staff, let's see. Commissioners' announcements. Commissioner Firstner,
Not at this time.
Commissioner Oliver,
Not at this time.
Commissioner Branson,
I have none.
and Commissioner Wilson.
Nothing at this time, thank you.
All right. We got a couple of announcements here I want to get out. All right. City Hall is open to the public. However, attendance inside the Ocoee Commission chambers may be limited to accommodate social distancing and is subject to the governor's executive orders. Any interested party may be heard during the public comments and public hearings portions of the meeting. In order to participate remotely, members of the public should call 7118, or email citizens@ocoee.org in advance and indicate the item you would like to address. At the appropriate time during the meeting, city staff will contact you via phone and patch you into the meetings where you can share your comments and/or questions. Comments and questions received via email will become public records and provided to the city commissioners in advance of the meetings. The city's general municipal election for Commissioner District 2 and 4 will be held on Tuesday, March the 9th. To view sample ballots, please visit the elections page on the city's website. The Women's Club will host their candidate political forum on Monday, February 22nd, from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. here in the Ocoee City Hall Commission Chambers. Due to COVID-19, only candidates may attend the event. The forum will be televised on Spectrum, Channel 493, and live streamed on the city's website, at which time residents may call or email with their questions. All right. Now, public comments. I think the one I got from Mr. Atkins will be at the end, right? Yeah. We'll get that to the next public. All right. I need consent agenda. Anybody got anything on consent agenda they want to take off? If not, I hear a motion to approve.
I make a motion we approve the consent agenda.
Commissioner Brenson voted to approve the consent agenda, and do I hear a second?
I'll second that.
Seconded by Commissioner Wilson. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, oh, let's vote.
sorry.
Let's vote. Going back to the old days. All right. Okay, motion carries unanimously. I'm going back to forgetting. Man, this is going to be a blow through tonight. All right.
Oh, golly.
Public hearing, none. First reading of ordinance, none. Second reading of ordinance, public hearing, none. Regular agenda, none. Staff action items,
Nothing.
none? Okay. Comments from citizens and the public. Okay, Mr. Atkins.
I appreciate the opportunity to speak before the commission, and Mayor, thank you very much for your time. I want to touch base in regards to a concern that I have as a taxpayer and a citizen here in the city of Ocoee. And it actually boils down to whether you're running a business or any particular department within the city of Ocoee. We have to start to have a grave concern if we're starting to have a lot of turnover, especially in our first responders. I know that there's been some stuff online and so on and so forth in regards to salaries and this and that, and I'm not here about that. What I'm here about is my concern that we cannot retain quality firefighters in the city of Ocoee. Okay? When you hire an employee and they don't stay for very long, the cost to the city taxpayer, the cost to the department is substantial. By the time you process and train, by the time you get them involved in the community, at the end of the day, they go someplace else. We've got to start the process over. So, you know, we got to start to heal this. This isn't something that's new, clearly. I think that we can all do the research. I myself have reached out and done the research, so what I'm speaking about is specific. And what I would like to see tonight and hope to see tonight is at least a conversation. Hopefully, we'll get a motion in a second and maybe a vote on something that might be able to help us. It might take the attorney to help us kind of work it through the process. But one of the biggest issues that I see is that when we hire an employee for the City of Ocoee's Fire Department, it is their responsibility to pay the $8,000 to be able to become a paramedic and to get their licensing, okay? So at the end of the day, regardless of whether we're at the market with other cities and not, as far as starting pay, we are requiring them to pay out of their own pocket for something that helps them and helps us as a community. So I've done the research with the fire department. There are six current firefighters that do not have their paramedics license. It's a cost of $8,000 per person. That's $48,000. Okay, that's what the number is right now. You can speak to the fire chief if you'd like to, and he can confirm that. I know that we can't just, you know, give somebody, you know, their license and then expect them to be retained and not leave next week for a job making more money, right? So we strike a compromise. We say, okay, well, if we as a city are going to take care of covering your paramedics license, we expect that you're going to stay employed with us for at least 24 months. If they go ahead and make that agreement with us, let's as a city come up with the money to pay for it. We'll stop the mass exodus of important first responders, especially right now, dealing in the middle of a pandemic. Okay? It'll help bridge a gap of frustration that we can clearly see whether you believe everything on the internet or not. I tend not to. I tend to use it as something I can see and then do my research myself, you know? But I think you could probably find $48,000, actually I'm positive we can, for these 6 firefighters. And I think you guys should be able to work out a deal with the fire chief that if we pay for these paramedic licenses, which will in turn give them a higher quality of service, feel more safe and be more safe as a community and as a city, that we should be able to find that $48,000 and make sure that they get that training.
All right. Time's up. Okay, all right. Anybody on the, first of all, I'd like either Rob or, you want Craig or Rob to talk about it?
Mayor, I prefer not to at this point. They are in negotiations at this point. That's something that they could bring up and say, can we do this? They've not done that. We can't negotiate for them. If that's important to those 6 firefighters, they're more than welcome to bring it up in negotiations, but we can't negotiate that here in public. That's not the way that works.
Yeah, I'm not here to negotiate or represent the fire department. I'm here to speak on behalf of a concerned citizen that sees a direct problem within our community.
Yeah, I understand. You can't just
responder.
say we're gonna do that either. That has to be negotiated too. If we give them additional benefits, you have to negotiate that too.
They're a
That's
union.
what,
I
they're
understand
a
they're a
collective
union.
bargaining union, and we can't just say at a public meeting, well, let's give them this tomorrow, or let's take this away from them tomorrow. I mean, it would be nice if you could do that. I'm sure they wouldn't vote against additional benefits, but we have to do that the same way as taking benefits away. They're in negotiations right now. They just received a 9% raise last month. If you look at all the metrics we have, and you put the numbers together of their salary, what we pay for the family medical care, we're probably in the top third for Central Florida. Now, you can't just look at salary. You have to look at salary and benefits. We charge $250 a month for family insurance. Apopka charges around $700 a month for that same thing. So you have to look at the whole package. And like I said, we could talk about this here, but we have a negotiation team doing that right now. To my knowledge, that's not been brought up in the last contract or this contract so far. It's something we could talk about, but they have to bring that up and say, this is something important to us. It's important to 6 of them, I'm sure, who are in the academy. The other 45 or 50, that might not be something that's that important to them. They might want to take that $48,000 and split it up between the 50 of them. I don't know.
Yeah,
That's what Mr. Shadrick does.
I'm not speaking in regards to salary negotiations. I'm speaking in regards to the quality of service that they can provide for us taxpayers.
Okay, I thought you had talked about giving them $50,000.
No, I haven't talked about giving a specific person $50,000. What I said is that
No, 6 people.
we should make sure that
Okay,
those
and
that are
that's what
working under the fire department.
that's what they're tasked with in the negotiations
negotiations.
every 3
Yeah.
years.
Okay.
All right, here's a little tidbit to throw in there. 5 people up here sit there and discuss that and vote, all 5. All 5 voted on the last contract. There wasn't one nay.
I'm not speaking in regard to a salaried contract. I'm
But
speaking regarding
but you are when you're saying about the,
I'm talking about a license, a specific license
that's what I'm talking
required.
about. That is part of the contract. It's in the union.
Yeah.
That's part of the contract.
Well, do you feel,
Chris?
Mayor, that we should try to make sure that all of our firefighters in the city have
Well,
their
they were told
paramedics
that,
license?
they are told that what it is when they come here.
It's a requirement for them to be employed here to get it. I understand that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I'm just,
we're
I was just
telling
asking
you, he
you.
just told you that if they bring that up in the negotiations, it will be discussed.
He told me his standpoint from the city manager's standpoint, which I respect and value, and I don't have no problem with that. I was asking the commission
It's
and
not
the
really
mayor.
my standpoint. That's the legal standards for negotiating with a collective bargaining unit, Mr. Atkins. We can't sit here and talk about what's going on in the negotiations in public and say, this is what we're going to give you and this is what we're not going to give you. I appreciate you're standing up for them. I really do. I don't really
I'm not
have an
standing
issue.
up for them, actually.
Yeah, I don't really have an issue whether we pay that or not. The issue is, do the other 45 or 46 members in the union want to take $48,000 that they know could be used for other benefits and pay the paramedic schooling for those 6 people when they may have had to pay that themselves. So that's why they talk about that as a group, and they decide if that's something they want to push forward. They've not done that in the past. I suspect they had other motives and other uses for that money, i.e. raises, and it wasn't that important to them to bring it up. If it is, we'll consider it. It's $48,000 of the money that we have on the table that we can give them in raises and benefits.
Excellent. I guess that my question should have been, does the mayor and commissioners, do you feel that it is pertinent, or do you have a concern that we're having such a large exodus of firefighters or first responders? Is that a concern to you?
First of all, I don't think we're having a mass exodus.
Okay.
You can read it in the paper or read it in that Facebook stuff that goes out. But first of all, I want you to get a thing over the years what we had. And you can say what you want. A lot of people leave here to go to other jobs all the time. They go into a job that pays more money, but when you figure out the money, I had one of the firefighters tell me one time, when you go to Orange County, you're going to find out you got a whole different wagon to do there. You're going to be out running all day, all night, not sitting it back at the station sometimes. We don't have the runs they have. If you take a total of runs that Orange County has, go look that up. There's a difference, and they work 30 years getting to that retirement, not here. So we're at the end of this discussion.
Yeah, I appreciate it. My concern is that we're having turnover, and turnover is a concern.
We have
No, we're
turnover,
not.
we have
No, we're
turnover in
not.
all the departments. I mean,
No.
just one quick comment, Mayor. We've had turnover in the fire department. We have it in the police department, too. And
Yeah.
we have people who come in and want to be a firefighter. They apply to Orange County, they apply to
Yeah.
Orlando, and they
Do you know
apply
do
here.
you know the turnover percent for the fire department offhand?
I don't.
Okay.
no.
Do you know it for any other department offhand?
No.
Okay. I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Here's the problem. What he's saying is, it's the truth. They come here because they take this job knowing they're going somewhere else.
Well, we
They're
need to
just
fix
covering
that.
They
themselves.
do.
We need to
They're
fix that.
taking
They
this
come
job
here.
till they can get to the other one.
Well, I would like to see us fix that, because I don't want to see us go to Orange County, which I know we've discussed in the recent
It'll
past.
be discussed in the negotiations.
I was like
Yeah.
8 years ago. That was not the
Well, I
recent
mean-
past, unless 8 years ago was recent past. It's like, we're committed to doing it, it's what the commission wants to do, but Mr. Atkins, you cannot negotiate for them, okay? They need
Yeah.
to negotiate what they want. We bring it forth to the commission in closed sessions. The commissioners all know everything that's going on, what was being proposed, what's not being proposed. I'm sure people come up to them and say, we'd really like this, we'd really like that, but it's the commission that decides it. We want to keep all salaries fair, and we want to keep them competitive so we can hire people, but no matter what we do, they're going to leave here when they get a job offer from Orange County or Orlando. And it's happened for the entire 17 years I've been here.
Yeah.
And
Well-
it's just going to happen. And, you can come in here and you can look at the numbers and you could say, well, what's our turnover rate and everything?
That's an important number to know, I would think.
If you had told me you were going to ask this and you were going to cross-examine me tonight, perhaps I could have got those numbers.
I didn't
And,
cross-examine you, I just asked a simple
all right.
question, sir.
I'm
That's it.
convinced that we have a very good package, and there's just some things we're not going to be able to fight against, and it's Orlando and Orange County.
Nope.
Again, I appreciate it. I'm just
Okay.
concerned about it, that's all. Thank you.
All right. Anybody else in the public?
I actually have a
Oh.
question. I just had a quick question.
All right,
Anybody else in the board? I'll yield to the public.
Brad.
All right, so, Mr. Atkins and I, like I told him, we don't normally agree on things, but some things, I think.
Brad, turn down the microphone.
Oh, excuse me, let me get over here. I believe our city is a stepping point sometimes for these first responders, and if you look at what the salary requirements are now, what we provide, and what some of our neighbors provide, right? Right now, our base salary for firefighters is about $40,000. I think Winter Garden is $37,000. I mean, they look at these jobs for Orlando and Orange County, and they see, Orlando starts at $48,000. So we know eventually they're going to want to go other places because we're a smaller town, we have smaller trips, it's just the way it is. I would like to see, however, when we have new hires come on, that there is some sort of, I don't want to say retention bonus, but something to make them stay at least a year or two. I'm not sure what our turnover is now. I know there's been some posts in the Facebook and the news and whatnot about you know, a couple firefighters just left, one of them only here 6 months, you know. We should find a way to retain the newer recruits that will be here for a year or two, and I don't know how to do that, right? So that would be something I would challenge the negotiators to see if, you know, when you have new people come on board, what kind of bonuses can we give them? How do we keep them for a minimum of a year or two to their, but that's a tough question, so good luck.
All right, Commissioner Oliver.
Well, I tend to agree in part with some of the comments that were made. As it pertains to firefighter retention, I too believe that the attrition rate is quite high from what I see. I also agree with the fact that Mr. Atkins stated about how we retain some of these firefighters that have to pay for that certification. And I understand that we are in a collective bargaining agreement, and we just can't talk about these things in this forum. This is just not the forum for that. It might even be illegal. I don't think we can. But nonetheless, I believe that there's a connection somewhere between this diocese and who's negotiating on behalf of the city. And they're also negotiating with the firefighters union. Now, as a city, when we go into our budget workshops, we have the power to set aside money for different things. And I don't understand why we could not possibly entertain at the right point before they have their next bargaining agreement to say, as a city, as a diocese, this is what we're willing to set aside for them going into our next budget cycle, prior to the contract negotiation. So what I'm saying is, at what point can we as a diocese, or we as the leadership of the city, make some type of offer going into those negotiations in good faith to say, hey, look, we understand what you're going through. We back you as our first responders. We pray for them every time we come. We pray for our first responders. So we know the importance of what they do and how they keep us safe, but they put their lives on the line every single day for us. So as the leadership, I would like to know, how can we put something in the pot to say, hey, I know you guys going into your collective bargaining agreements, but as a city, this is what we want to add to the pot. Let's see if we can actually come to some type of agreement within these negotiations with those new firefighters that come on board, with payment of that $8,000, and also some type of an agreement to be able to retain them for so many months if they agree to take that type of contract.
I'm not for doing that. If it's the union negotiations, that's what we got to deal with. You can't get outside the bucket there and go to that. Then you start all other kind of problems, and I don't know what the lawyer has to say about it.
I think, there's not a commissioner up there who doesn't want to retain good firefighters and treat them fairly. You're going to have your opportunity to meet with the city's representatives that are negotiating with the fire department, and you'll have your opportunity to share your thoughts there. So I think it's best we wait until that opportunity, rather than try to offer something up here, or, heaven forbid, negotiate something.
Absolutely. I know we can't offer anything here, but as we move forward, this is something that we have to start thinking. We have to be forward thinking about these things. We know we have a problem now, so when we get to that point where we're facing the negotiations with them again in another 3 years or 2 years or whatever time frame that comes about, we should be able to forward think and say, we can think through this now, so when that time comes, here's what we want to offer them. Here's what we would like to see them have. Or here's what we would like to see happen when it comes to those negotiations on behalf of the leadership here. So again, not something we can discuss now or we can make any decisions now, but at least it's something we can put on our radars right now to start thinking about how do we look at that type of negotiation in the future.
All right, anybody else? All right, where are we at here? Oh.
We're still on public comments.
Yeah. No more? All right. Which last one did I get off of here? We went down to consent, we went through public hearing, first reading, second reading. We're down to comments from citizens, and that's it. Now we're gonna get comments from the commissioners. We start with Commissioner Oliver.
Well, my mic's already hot, so I might as well keep going, right? All right. First thing I need to ask about is, I know we talked about it last meeting about the bus stop at Clark and Whitefriar. Just wondering, have we gotten anything back from the school board yet on that?
No, I don't. I did transmit that to the Public Works Director. He hasn't heard back yet. They're not the quickest to respond. I have a feeling when I asked him about it and he called them, they said, oh, yeah, and I expect we should hear something.
Gotcha. Well, we'll stay on top of that, and we'll figure out, hopefully, we can come up with a solution. They move the bus stop. I think we're all good if they move the bus stop. If not, we may have to look at putting some signs up. Now, it leads me to trash. I got to talk trash tonight. So I've gotten a lot of phone calls about trash pickup, solid waste pickup. It's like every other day I'm getting something about trash. And I don't know how to answer that because, again, we're in the middle of a contract with this company. We just started with these guys in January. And I understand we were going to go through some growing pains, but here we are we're a year in now, and we're still dealing with, I'm still feeling the same questions about trash and pickup, and they're not picking up as much. They don't have a claw. I mean, some of the residents are saying, hey, look, in order for me to get them to pick up my extra stuff, I might slip them extra $5, which is wrong. They shouldn't do that anyway. But I'm hearing this constantly. So the question I have is, what can we do to improve the quality of what we're getting as far as our trash pickup is concerned? Because I know when the city was doing it, oh my goodness, I mean, the quality of the work and the service, the customer service that we received from the city was just head and shoulders above what we're getting right now. And I've seen that, myself. It's not something that I know that you may not be able to answer that right now, but it may take some time, but you're into
Yeah,
this.
just a quick comment, Commissioner. It is important to send those complaints to Public Works. I've found, and I think Mr. Krug will agree, that the company has been fairly responsive when they come in, and they usually go above and beyond to take care of what the issue is. I think part of the problem was, or part of the problem is that we gave them a copy of our ordinance as to what is allowed and what isn't allowed. And because we did such a good job as ourselves, doing this in-house, the guys really didn't follow the ordinance. And if you put something out, it was picked up. And now this company their bid on what our ordinance said and what their allowances were. And people continue to put out what they did before. I think most of those cases are resolved amicably when the supervisor comes out. Mm-hmm. They try to educate them at the time. They say, you can't put 12 yards out, you have to put 4 yards out. But I think the complaints you're getting are probably from new people each time. But like I said, and I think the mayor was nodding, I think he's getting the same feel that they are very good when they go out there, but they are following what the ordinance says as to what people can put out, how much they can put out, and typically it's an educational type thing. So maybe we just need to have some type of educational mailer put in with the utility bill or put it on the web or something like that. But as far as I understand, the majority of the complaints we're getting are people who don't understand and they're not following the ordinance.
Okay. So if it definitely is an education, that's what it sounds like. It could be a.
And we knew there'd be some of this
educating.
and that's why we're paying less for this, because we knew there'd be some, and we knew that they would come in and they would follow the ordinance, not necessarily to the letter of the law, but they try to conform to, they don't want to pick up 8 yards if they only have to pick up 4 by contract.
Gotcha.
So that's some of the issue.
So again, if we can, if we're able to educate some way, some type of documentation through maybe the water
Yeah, we can
bill
look at that.
or some kind of flyer or something just to let folks know here's the standards and here's what their requirements are.
And we've done that, and it's probably something we should look at doing a couple of times a
They
year.
also tag them, and they tell them exactly on the tag what they're supposed to do. I mean, when you leave a cold tree, you cut down a whole big oak tree and throw it out by the road and in the road, they're not gonna pick all that up.
Well, I
I'm
think
not gonna do it.
there may be some isolated cases when people are doing
There-
that, but for the most part, I
Yeah,
see, I have actually, went out to a couple of these and just saw what they left versus what they had there, and again, it was just, something that, it could be an educational piece.
I think they'll do a gimme. The first time, they'll go out there, and if you're over, they'll probably take care of it and say you can't do that.
Yeah.
They've done that several
Yeah.
times, too.
Yeah, could be setting
Yeah.
the wrong expectation from the first time.
Yes.
But, yeah, I agree. I think if we can actually do something, once or twice a year to educate the citizens as to what the standards are as far as the trash and solid waste pickup is, I think that would be, sufficient. Awesome. Okay, I need to talk about Arden Park North and the entrance at the bike trail. Again, still getting some complaints about coming out of Arden Park North. I met with some citizens over there, about 50 or 60 citizens, and they had the same complaint about this entrance. And when they come out, they have to contend with, you have a bike trail, then you have 2 lanes, turn lane, 2 more lanes to get all the way over. If you're making a left turn out of there, going, let's say you're trying to get to Clark Road, you got to go across about 5 lanes plus a bike trail that you got to deal with. So they're negotiating a left turn amidst people walking, joggers, bikes, and then cars coming, heading east and west. So they do have some small stop signs there for the pedestrians. And when they told me about this, I didn't quite understand what they were saying until I drove up there and did it a couple of times myself and said, okay, now I get what you're saying. The joggers, runners, and bikers, they can see the cars, but the cars can't necessarily see the joggers, bikers, and runners, or the walkers. And I'm trying to figure out a way, or at least get some input on how can we educate the folks on the trail that, hey, look, these cars don't necessarily see you. The stop signs are there, that's okay. I would like to see some flashing lights or something. I've seen that, like in Cocoa Beach, they have people walking across the street, they push the button, and the lights flash. Kind of gets the attention of the drivers as well as other pedestrians. I was wondering if that might be some type of solution for the folks in Arden Park, as they have to contend with so much as they're trying to come out making that left turn, or even the right turn for that matter. Can we possibly look at putting some
Commissioner,
lights to
if
alert
I'm reading you
the
correctly,
walkers?
that the trail, the signs, the right-of-way is all county there. That's all county property, and they're the ones that maintain the trail and that signage there. I don't know by the law we would have any right to do anything there.
Gotcha. So if the county was to look into this, is that something that we can coordinate with them as far as some solutions, some ideas that we can take to the county to say, hey, here's
We'd
some
be happy
ideas?
to talk with them, but
Yeah.
we can't really do a project there. That's their right-of-way and that's their trail. And,
But we can offer solutions to the county to say, hey,
yeah,
look,
I think
we've
that
looked at it,
same,
and
that
this may be
same
some
situation you're talking about happens several times though where the trail crosses. It's not just there. There's probably at least a half a dozen more similar types of crossings there.
Well, I understand that it's a county property, but it's our citizens. A lot of our citizens walking that trail, and a lot of our citizens coming out of that coming out
We
of
could
Arden
certainly
Park.
take a look
So,
at it
I mean,
and
they're-
suggest something to the county, but I'm sure their traffic people are just as good as ours.
Well, again, if they don't know about it and we don't bring it to their attention, then no one knows but us. So I'm thinking that it may be a good idea if we could maybe come up with some solutions and say, hey, here's the problem that we're having on your trail, in your street, with our citizens. Here's some solutions that we think that might be amicable to the citizens that walk that trail and the citizens that drive across that trail. That's all I'm saying. If we can possibly just look into it, and we can work together on that and see what we call Steve and see what we can possibly offer to the county and see if they'd be willing to do anything. I think that's the least we can do because they're our citizens. All right. Ingham Road sidewalks and lighting. Do we have any updates on when that project may be starting?
No, I could have an update prepared and sent to you all. So,
Awesome, thank you. Now, I had a meeting with Commissioner Christine Moore on the 28th concerning Lake Meadow. We had our team there, Mike Rumor, and our utility team there, Steve Krug, and they had their utility guys there. We had some extensive conversation about Lake Meadow and what's happening there with water tables and the 100-year storms, and we actually started looking at that. And one thing we did, we came to a conclusion that they want to do a 2-month study. It's going to take about 2 months to get the study done to determine what is going to be the best course of action, just in case we have to do an emergency pump. So again, if we end up with this year 2 or 3 heavy storms and maybe a hurricane, they could literally end up underwater. Based on where the water table is right now, the average is about 86.4, something like that, and they're right at about 84, 85, but they're close to that table. And one good storm would actually put them way over that table, and then we have to talk about emergency pumping and emergency management. So Steve has agreed to, and this is not just for information, I know you guys already know about this, but this is just for the folks that are watching that's interested in what's going on with Lake Meadow. So we will come up with a 2-month plan to figure out what we do or what would happen in the case of a storm and the water tables get overflow, and we have to do an emergency pump, and also where will we pump that water to? So that'll be a big part of it. So that's going to be the challenge. You pump the water out, but it has to go somewhere. So that's a part of the study that they should be coming back in the next couple of months to talk about Lake Meadow and what kind of solutions that we may be able to help those folks with. The light adjustment at the corner of Clark Road and Clerical on Ocoee. I think there's some movement going on there. I saw some striping, some of the barricades are starting to move. Is there going to be a left-hand turn signal there, or are we just going to shift the light over once we open up the road?
are you talking Clark Road southbound?
Yeah, Clark Road, actually Clark Road heading northbound, because heading southbound, you're going straight across, and then the light is green on both sides. So you have 2 cars, one trying to make a left turn, one's going straight. Just wondering, as we shift the light over and we move that movement over, will we be actually putting in a left-hand turn for the guys turning left, heading northbound?
I'm not aware. I don't want to tell you one thing.
That all county, right? County is actually engaged in that.
Yes, that's correct.
So if we can get an update on, from the county on that light and when we're going to be able to shift all that over and start opening up that other side over there. I've seen they've actually started doing something there already. So it's just a matter of, looks like shifting the light and maybe adding a left turn signal. So if we can get an update on that, that'll probably help as well, alleviate traffic accidents at that corner. All right, for the past couple of weeks, I have been going out on the corner of Silver Star and Clark Road. And this particular morning, I was out on the corner at about 6:30, and it was very cold. It was extremely cold, and I lost feeling in my hand this morning. And I wanted to talk about homelessness. I want to talk about those folks that didn't have the opportunity to sleep in a warm bed last night. Those folks that didn't have the opportunity to take a warm shower and then wake up and go to a job that some of us complain about. They didn't have that opportunity. There were some folks that actually slept outside last night. And when I was standing on that corner, all I could think about was the folks that had to sleep in that overnight. Not only last night, but what about the other nights? What about the nights when it's 100 degrees plus and they're still out there homelessness? And we have that. We have some folks in our city that are homeless. And I'm making a call to action to my friends, my family, people that help me with different things. And the call to action is to think about folks that's out there that may be dealing with those kind of things, and think about what we can do to help them, what we can do as a city to help. We have organizations in the city, we have numerous organizations in the city that help. And we have to understand that when we deal with poverty and homelessness, it's going to take more than just one or two organizations out here to help these folks. It's going to take all of us. Individually, we have to play our part. Even if it's only helping one person, we have to play our part. So one of the things that I want to do is, as I stand on that corner, I do see a few homeless people may walk by, and they may go to McDonald's. So on the 15th, which is President's Day, I'm actually going to just buy them breakfast as my call to do something, a random act of kindness is what I'm calling each and every one here to do. Do one random act of kindness. Take one day and stop doing whatever you're doing. Do a random act of kindness for just one person. That's all it takes, one person. So I will be doing that as my random act of kindness is actually feed folks from a whole hour. If it was just a cup of coffee or Danish or whatever it may be, just to show them that there's people out here that care about them. So I will be doing that. And I'm actually going to call and challenge each and every person here to do the same. And I'm not saying that you don't do it. I'm just saying if you're already doing it, tell somebody else to do it. And I think that we can all come together doing it that way. Do nothing out of selfish ambition or vain conceit. Rather, in humility, value all others above ourselves. That came from the Bible. That was out of Philippians chapter 2, verses 3. Let's remember, we can't change the world. We can't change our country. We can't change our county. We cannot change our city until we change ourselves. God bless.
Sleeper. Mr. Brinson, Commissioner Brinson.
Such a tough act to follow. First, I would just like to say that I've been addressing several concerns from the residents and the citizens and also visitors for the city of Ocoee recently, which is actually a good thing. I am obviously District 1 Commissioner. If you do not know how to reach me, the best way to do it is by email, lbrinson, BRINSON, @ocoee.org, and state your case, even if you're just calling me just to say hello. But I'm having conversations recently with Orange County as well as Orange County Public Schools regarding some maintenance, some grounds maintenance issues that we're having throughout the city, particularly over at Ocoee High School. So we're working on it. And I don't think it's going to be a big problem, but I just want to make sure you're aware that we are taking care of it. Also, there's a retention pond issue in one of our neighborhoods that we're also looking at. Hopefully, that will be worked out. I think that property is actually the responsibility of the HOA that was over there in that community. But we have to take care of it, regardless of whose responsibility it is. We got to take action to make sure whoever is responsible for it takes care of it. I also would like to welcome, because seems like every week we're having, or at least every month, we're having a new business open up in the city of Ocoee. So I would like to welcome all the new business owners. I see one sitting back there as well in the city of Ocoee. That just shows us that we're growing and we're moving forward, and we're moving forward pretty rapidly. So again, welcome to all the new businesses that have planted themselves in our fine city, and all the new residences who are moving to Ocoee. We have a lot of residents moving to Ocoee, which means we got a lot of residences coming out of the ground. So we are moving. We are simply being, if I have no other term to say, we are the place to be. But with that comes a lot of other issues. So I think this fine commission here is going to be well positioned to address those issues. And I think we should keep in mind that with growth comes delay. And I've said this many times before, that be patient along the way. If you take a look out in front of us on Bluford, our city hall is coming out of the ground. It's going to be the focal point of downtown Ocoee. And I think I'm excited about it. I'm not sure if you are, but I'm extremely excited about our new city hall. So that's something that's important as well. Again, I'm in District 1. If you have an issue, if you just want to say hello, by all means, reach out to me. The best way to reach out to Larry, Commissioner Brinson, is lbrinson@ocoee.org, because I have it, and I don't have to circle back and try to find your voicemail. And I think that is it. Thank you.
Thanks, sir. Commissioner Wilson?
Thank you. I just want you to know that your questions and concerns are very important to me. I think I'm following up Commissioner Brinson, but I prefer you call me. We have cell phones. We have also emails. Mine is rwilson@ocoee.org. And my phone number is 407-948-2155. I just want you to know that I will attempt to solve all your concerns. Not that we can solve everything, but we try to listen and try to solve what we can. And I just want you to know, our job doesn't stop here. My job doesn't stop here. I listen to you, I get calls in the evening, I get calls on weekends, and I appreciate that, because I need to be informed as to what is concerning you. So please, don't forget to reach out to me. As I say, the job does not stop here. We continue when we leave here, and I feel it's very important for you to be involved, and informed. So please, give me a call. Thank you.
That it?
That's it.
Okey dokey. I'm going to put this scale out about the fire department out to anybody. I'm going to go to the Facebook places where I've been getting calls from people, seeing all this stuff on Facebook about the firefighters. And it's 2 people, I think is what it is, what I was told. Also, you know, let's look at what we do when we have the negotiations. And every time I sit in the negotiations, I see the same people saying things when they get away from there, but they don't say that at the negotiations. They vote the other way. Every one of them up here voted for that contract.
Call me.
Huh?
You didn't call me.
No, I can't. I can't.
No. Comments.
Oh, I thought I did. Well, go ahead.
No.
Oh, I got it in order, but I missed you. Go
You
back.
missed me.
You always say you don't have any.
I know. I have something tonight.
All right, go ahead.
District 3 is doing very well. I don't have any concerns or complaints to address. But I do, in regard to Black History Month, I do have some FYI facts that I would like to share. And what they are regarding 2 individuals named Bluford. The first one is Lucille Bluford. Lucille Bluford was a well-respected editor and publisher of the Kansas City Call, an important African-American weekly newspaper. She was also a brave and persistent civil rights activist in both her personal life and her career. She refused to remain quiet about racial injustice. She was turned down by the University of Missouri countless times for trying to get into her journalism school. They finally recognized her later on in 1983, and it was only because of her nephew. And that's the second Bluford I'd like to mention, Guillaume Bluford Jr., or Guy Bluford. He was an engineer, fighter pilot, and an astronaut. He was the first African-American astronaut to go into space for this country. He had a bachelor's degree, a master's degree in aerospace engineering, and a PhD in aerospace engineering, plus another master's degree. He is a retired astronaut who became famous in 1983 when he became the first African-American to go into space. His first mission was in the orbiter Challenger. Bluford participated as a mission specialist. After that, he was part of the crew in other missions until 1992 when he retired. So I just wanted to pass that information on, so when you're driving down this street out in front of City Hall here and you see the name, you don't necessarily have to think of negative connotations that go with the name Bluford. There are 2 Americans here that have given us so much, and they're the ones that we need to be thinking about. not the negative side. That's it.
That was good, thank you, sir. Now, let's see, where was that at now? On the firefighters deal, we're not supposed to discuss this stuff, we're not supposed to tell them, are we not in negotiations now, Craig? Huh? And I got a call from a firefighter tonight saying some commissioner went and told them they were voting for the raises for the firefighters already. So that's against the ethics, that's against what we do. You're not supposed to do that. Now, I'm not gonna say who it is, but they've already went and told them that they're gonna get a raise. They're gonna vote yes. So I just wanna understand, we all say what we're supposed to do here and stick to what we're supposed to do. You're not supposed to go and talk to them and say things like that. Not at all. The other thing is, if you look at, anybody can have these reports, they're public record. What I give Mr. Chris back here and a few others, you can get these reports and they'll tell you exactly what the pay is, what the insurance is, what the other benefits is, and what they're making. And when we sit in that negotiation room, I know ex-Commissioner Joel Keller's done it before, that's where it is. And I know Commissioner Wilson, we all sat there for years doing that. You cannot discuss that outside of that room. So I'm not going to be debating with them on what salary is going to be till we get in that room. And if they want the stuff, ask for it, and then we look at it. And if we can afford to do it, we do it. The other thing is this stuff about going on Facebook and saying this stuff. And I know I read an article Sunday in the paper about me. And if I had the Bibles here, I'd stand on them again tonight. But I'm telling you, it gets ridiculous when you go tell, put the public record that I'm out getting all these commissioners to run for office. Now, there's a bunch of them in here tonight, and they can tell you that I haven't. And I'll tell you, if you can prove I did it, if you can prove I did that, I will buy you a nice car. But I can damn well tell you that I didn't do it, and I'm tired of hearing it. You got to do that, but call the Sentinel. All you're trying to do is get an advertisement and promotions, and that's not what we're supposed to do. So I can tell you again, if you can ask any of these people, have I talked to them about running, they'll tell you I haven't. So I'm tired of debating that, and I told Steve Hudak that. So take it for what it's worth. I didn't tell them. They get it, they running for a reason. And ask them the reason they're running. That's their project, not mine. Because I've run it for a long time, and I know how it works. But that's another issue. Then the other issue is, we set up here, Commissioner Oliver, at the meeting 2 weeks ago, telling everybody to come to that function you had last Saturday, where there was a function last Saturday. And I don't know where that little paper is, but you told everybody to come, announced it on public record here. But when we get there, the person gets there and they were told not to be there because it was your function.
That is absolutely untrue.
No, it isn't. The lady
Okay,
sat
wait,
right
wait,
there and
hold
told
on.
her, and I'm not gonna, let me finish my talk, and then you can
No, because
say.
you brought my name into this, and now I
Well,
want
I
to
did, but
respond.
when I finished,
Okay,
then you
good.
can
Go on,
talk.
sorry, go ahead. I yield back to you,
Okay,
sir.
appreciate that. But I'm just telling you, that can be proved. And I'm not gonna debate it anymore. When you get up here on this table and you say that stuff, then you cannot say you can't be there. Well, you can shake your head all you want. The person sitting there knows he said it. So I'm not gonna get into that debate either. So you can say what you want. I'm finishing my time here. It's got to come to. Ma'am, you can't
Okay,
talk
thank-
out. You cannot talk in the public. You wanna leave the audience, you keep talking.
All right, so
Let me finish
Okay.
my time.
I'm sorry, go ahead,
Then
finish your time.
don't worry, I'll let you speak.
Oh, thank you.
You like to speak, I'll let you speak. The other things is the citizens in the garbage trash. I get most every call that you can get for trash, and I can tell you what the problem is. And I talked to the man that does it for the Waste Connections. It is people putting out way too much stuff. They take the recycling bin and put all the garbage and stuff in the recycling bin. They don't put it in the recycling bin. They don't put garbage. They put the garbage in the recycling bin because they got too much stuff. I see them up there redoing houses. They take the whole inside of a house out by the road and put it out by the road to be picked up for us. So that's where the problem comes. But what was the other thing? The Woman's Club thing. Now, is that going to be done in here, but it's going to be no citizens?
Well, I just need to inform you, I am a member of the Women's Club, but I have not attended their meetings, so I'm not involved in any of the proceedings with this. Just want that very clearly stated. But from our flyer that we received, our notice that we received, because I am running, I will just say that, there'll be no one in attendance. that we are not to bring anyone with us, no family, no one. It is just those running for office, and I'm
So they
sure
call
the
in-
women's
they
club is
call
going to be
in.
there.
They call
But
in.
they can call, according to what we received, they can call in, email in, but again, I
Well,
have
somebody
nothing
had
to
it-
do with that.
Somebody had it posted for February the 2nd, but
It's
I
February
said that couldn't be
22nd.
right, because we passed that already tonight, so. Somebody did have it in there for February the 2nd, so I don't know who that was. All right, I'll finish up. Go ahead, Commissioner Oliver. I'll talk more.
Okay, thank you. So first, let me address one thing. The Ocoee firefighters did endorse me. However, I didn't seek that endorsement. They called me. Matter of fact, they didn't even call me. They called my campaign manager. So I had no idea. I didn't even know they endorsed me until 2 days after the fact. Once I found out they endorsed me, I was very humbled about that endorsement. I thanked them, and I told them I would continue to fight for them, just like I've always fought for them, as well as the police department in the past. So this telling firefighters they're going to get a raise, no, that never happened. So now, as far as what happened on Saturday, it was a community event, and Ms. Hart and her team came to that event, and they asked, could they set up? And my response, and Ms. Hart, she would tell you, she's sitting back there, my response was, yes, absolutely, they can stay. Even though I was campaigning at that event, I graciously allowed them to stay at that event, and their entire team and staff. So therefore, no one was turned around. No one was told anything about this is just an event for Commissioner Oliver. It was a community event. It was open to everyone, both churches as well as people just walking down the street, as well as folks that was riding the bike trail that day came over, and we fed them, and we had a great time. So I'm not sure where you got that information from, but on both cases, it is absolutely false.
Well, it's the same thing as you making the statement that I got all these commissioners to run circles.
Well, you know what, I'll stand by what I said, because
Well, I
yes,
did that too. I just told you.
I did
I don't
say
wanna
that,
call you
I
a
did
liar
say
up here.
that you play politics one-on-one,
No, I
and
don't.
it's okay, yes,
No.
you do,
I did
because,
not.
you play politics
You
one-on-one.
proved that I did that,
But
and I'll buy you a
I'm sorry,
car.
I'm still talking, man.
Well, I won't talk to you.
Can-
Your
I-
time's
I'll
up.
be happy to
I've
yield
given
back to
your
you.
comments. You've answered that
Okay,
thing. Now
well,
back to me.
absolutely false.
Now it's back
I'll
to me.
stand
No,
by
it's
my,
not.
I'll stand by my
Well,
statement.
I hope you do,
And I'll
'cause it's
stand by
false.
to your face, and whatever I say on the paper, I'll say it to your face.
Well, you can say it, it's a lie.
Because I'm saying it to your
It's a
face
lie.
right now.
It's a lie. You prove it.
I'm done.
Prove it.
Nothing to say.
Joel, did I ask you? Did I ask you, Miss Hart? Huh? Miss Hart, did I ask you? You have, only to him, huh? Did I ask Miss Hart? No. Who's the other one? I'm waiting to hear. Oh, you, Commissioner Wilson. I didn't ask you either.
Well, I'm here, I'm going to.
I know that. All right, that's the problem. Everybody wants to say something, then don't own up to it. All right. There's another thing supposed to happen on the 20th, right? Don't we have somebody renting this place on the 20th?
We have there's the Unity at Bill.
The Unity.
President Thompson, plus there's a ribbon cutting at Dunkin' Donuts, I just found out.
Yeah, I know, yeah. All right.
That's not in here.
Once again,
That's not in here.
if we get
It's in your
the,
mail. There was
Yeah.
an email sent out today about a new.
they sent it out
business.
last week, I think.
Was it out last week? I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I-
last week.
Never mind.
So- If anybody wants any of these fire things to give to anybody, I got them. You can read those, and it shows you what our salaries compared to other people's salaries are. So they're here, and I'm gonna make sure people on Facebook get a hold of them. All right, meeting adjourned.